Welcome to the Self-Help Hangover podcast.
Where new-aged, free-spirited Maegan and her skeptical but somewhat religious father, Kirk, review popular self-help media to sort out what's the best and what's a buttload of crap. Did you catch that? You know what that movie's from?
Can we bleep that out, please? It's from Napoleon Dynamite.
That was rated PG-13. What's our threshold?
That's actually from Nacho Libre.
Oh, what? A buttload of crap? No, that's from Napoleon Dynamite.
A load of crap about the gospel.
It's from Nacho Libre.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little worried about your salvation and stuff.
Oh, what? Okay. Dang. Okay.
Nacho Libre, classic. Anyway, yes, this is the Self-Help Hangover podcast. Today, we're probably going to quickly discuss 2 chapters because, I don't know, will we ever finish with
We might never
Think
finish
and
this
Grow
book.
Rich?
Yeah.
We're making good progress, I think, but chapters 9 and 10 is our goal for today. 9 is about persistence, and 10 is about the power of mastermind, which I think we largely covered.
I feel like we've beat the dead horse with
of
that
the
one.
mastermind.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is why I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about persistence. What is it good?
Yeah, I like this chapter a lot because I like the idea of persistence and persisting towards your goals, even if it's not working out immediately. It reminds me of the book. Have you ever read the book Grit?
By Angela Duckworth?
Yeah. Grandpa
I
loves
don't know
that
if
book.
I've actually read it, but I've listened to her on lots of podcasts.
Okay. Yeah,
Well-
Grandpa Tolk loves that book. He recommended it to me and I listened to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
And
it's
you
been
liked it?
I liked it, yeah, but it's been a long time since I've listened to it. Again, I think I was like similar age, like 16, 17 when I listened to it, but
The first, I heard about, well, the first podcast that I heard Angela Duckworth on was the Freakonomics podcast. And she had 2 or 3 episodes about grit, or maybe it was 1. It seemed like it was expanded to 2 or 3. And loved that. I thought it was very interesting. And then she later started her own podcast called No Stupid Questions. And it started with the same host as Freakonomics, and then he kind of stepped aside. And a guy that I came to know and befriend, Mike Mon, became the co-host of
oh really?
Freakonomics.
Wait, how do you know?
I was
you know
listening to Angela Duckworth's podcast, and then I was like, whoa, the new co-host is a guy from Utah.
Oh, so did you reach out to him?
So I added him on Instagram. I was like, and just commented, like, great podcast, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then we just would message each other.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
then I did like one of those days where I do as much work on as many different paintings as I can.
Yeah.
And people can offer me rewards if I meet my goal. And he was one of them, and it was to go to dinner. So we had
that's
dinner.
cool.
And there was a particular conversation that I wanted to have with him, and
it went well?
From my perspective, it went great. So
That's awesome.
anyway, I'm friends with Angela Duckworth's friend. I guess that's my point.
I'm friends with the dog from Project Runway.
Oh, yeah. You met
Swatch,
in person, right?
Yeah.
On a trip to New York. Well, that's a good claim to fame, Megan.
Thank you.
Quote, men who accumulate great fortunes are generally known as cold-blooded and sometimes ruthless. Often they are misunderstood. What they have is willpower, which they mix with persistence and place back of their desires to ensure the attainment of their objectives. Thoughts?
It's like a little bit dramatic
Okay.
about like you think that rich men are like cold-blooded or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but
Yeah, but he's saying, you're just misunderstanding them. They're persistent.
oh,
They're not
yeah.
cold-blooded and ruthless.
They're just misunderstood because they have,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any thoughts about that? Is it okay to come off as ruthless in the pursuit of persistence?
I think so. Like, I mean, there's no excuse to be mean, but like, I guess that's an okay thing.
Okay. Okay. Here's what I was just thinking about in the earlier chapter, how he talked about how the relationship between boss and employee would be different in the future. It would be a partnership.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that fits in with like coming off as ruthless and cold-blooded.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting to think about. I don't think everyone's like that who's like a boss or a CEO, but
Quote, poverty consciousness will voluntarily seize the mind, which is not occupied with money consciousness. I think what he's saying there is,
if you're not thinking about money, then you're going to be consumed with thoughts of poverty.
yeah, like your default mode is,
Oh, like yeah, like that's the
poverty.
default. Unless you're what do you call it? Unless you're like consciously putting yourself into a money mindset.
yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, I mean, I don't really think that's like concretely the case, but I mean, I think about this like a lot with like being in like an abundance mindset versus being in a scarcity mindset. And I kind of like have conflicting thoughts about it because I was telling my therapist that I feel like I'm airing out my dirty laundry, but
Should we invite your therapist for the next episode?
Well, no, because she moved out of the state, so now I have to find a new
What?
therapist.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
But
We could do a Zoom call.
yeah. But like, cause I feel like I always will like spend a lot of money on like food or things that I want because I'm like, well, I don't want to be in like a scarcity mindset because then I'll feel like there's not like abundance. So I'm like, if I spend a lot of money, then I'll be in an abundant mindset. But she was saying like, it's kind of like, it's not like that. Like, it's like it can be like that, I guess, maybe. I don't know. But like, if you act like you're poor, like when you're spending, like if you have like habits of like not spending extravagantly, then you can like save more. Not that you can never like spend on stuff, but if you're always spending on expensive things for the sake of being in abundance mindset, I don't think that's the healthiest thing to do. So I'm trying to not do that so much.
Okay.
I don't know if that made any sense with the topic.
Yeah, no, it totally made sense. Well, related to the
Let's
topic.
tie it back.
Does it?
It's like
Oh man, how can we get back to the topic? Dang.
about like the
No,
money
that was.
mindset.
I mean, that was right
poverty
there in the
mindset.
chapter. You were responding to I think that in many ways we have our expectations are set by what we're used to.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so true.
So, for example, I had a certain life growing up with a big family and a certain, my parents' certain income, which was different than Amy's growing up and her parents' income, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not immensely different, but enough different that her expectations of what our life would be like were different than mine, right?
For sure.
So when we were 10 years into my career, I thought we were doing fine. And she was like, we're not doing fine. And so if you grew up like super wealthy or if you grew up super poor, you might just think that's how life is. Right?
That's so true. Yeah. I have a friend who she would always like, or she just told me that like, it was like when growing up, it was like if she wanted something, she would just get it. And like her parents would get her like everything. And and so now she kind of feels like she's trying to like learn about like being a little more frugal and like trying to like, and like saving and not just like buying, like, not just having that like mentality of like, if you want something, you just buy it. And like, that's just how life goes.
Yeah.
Cause I feel like when we were growing up, I feel like we were like pretty poor when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And I feel like because of that, I like value like like my mindset is like, if I want money, I have to work for it. And like, I have to like, money's just not going to just come to me. Like I have to like, if I want money, I have to put in hours to work for it. And
Yeah.
I also feel like I like kind of feel like even though we're not like in the same financial situation as we were when I was younger, but I'm like so anxious about money. Like I'm always like anxious about money. And I'm also way bigger of a spender than my parents are. So I'm trying to not be like that anymore.
Do we give you money anxiety, Megan?
You don't give me money anxiety. I don't know. I honestly, like, sometimes with my, like, money, like, beliefs, sometimes I'm like, I don't know where that even came from. Because I feel like I'm, like, anxious about money, but I'm also, like, not anxious enough to where I'm, like, trying to, like, save more. Although I've been saving as of recently, but, like, I just wish that I was more frugal.
Yeah. So all of my speeches about how I lived on peanut butter sandwiches for 20 years and cut my own hair, those haven't sunk into
It just, I know. It hasn't, because I'm like, every time I'm always like, okay, I'm going to eat cheap this week. I'm going to eat cheap this week. And then I'm like, but I could eat something amazing like, for just a few more dollars.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
And it always gets the
for
better
ya.
of me. Like,
Well, you'll figure it out.
I know. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, but I do think, one of my motivations for getting really good grades and going to college and working hard as an artist and stuff was I grew up under a bench, right? And the people that were up on the bench in big houses and stuff, so I was friends with some of them, and I was just like, why are we struggling? And it's so depressing every time we come out of a dentist appointment because my parents are freaking out about the dental bill and stuff.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing motivated me to work hard, to be frugal, and but it still took a lot of years, right, for my business to grow. I think I've probably told you many times that it was, a dozen years into my career before I felt like I could buy a steak at the grocery store.
Yeah.
It was just,
Which is so crazy because I am always buying steaks at the grocery store.
That is crazy.
and the nice steaks. Like my dad buys like the
junky
cheapest
steaks.
steaks.
Uncle Rico steaks.
Yeah. Yeah, like I buy the nicest steaks at the grocery store.
That's too funny. All right, well, give me some of your steak next time. Here's a quote. Sometimes it appears that there is a hidden guide whose duty it is to test men through all sorts of discouraging experiences. Those who pick themselves up after defeat and keep on trying arrive, and the world cries, "Bravo! I knew you could do it." The hidden guide lets no one enjoy great achievement without passing the persistence test. Those who can't take it simply do not make the grade.
I'm so sorry.
Did you zone out?
I went on a spiral.
Megan was sleeping through that one.
No, I went on a spiral about my money spending.
About steaks.
Yeah.
I'll read it again. Well, maybe I can paraphrase. Basically, it almost feels like there's this hidden dude. There's this invisible person whose job it is to give you lots of discouraging experiences just to see if you'll get up and get back on your feet.
Oh, okay. Honestly, yeah. That is my anxiety right there.
There is an invisible guy
there
doing
is,
that?
yeah. And that's my anxiety. Like, that's honestly a perfect way to describe my anxiety. Like,
What, that you'll be given too many tests of persistence?
or, so the guy is the guy who gives you the tests. Not
Yeah.
like, okay, because I was thinking more like he's like reminding you of like every failure you've had in your life or something.
No, it's the guy that's there. He's like, nobody can be successful easily. Like, I gotta make sure
it's like you gotta work for it. Like, you gotta overcome.
I gotta make everybody work for it. If they give up, they didn't deserve it. But if they persist, then I'll eventually let them succeed.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with that too. Like, I feel like, I feel like God is testing me on a daily basis, like, with like, and not every day. Like, obviously, that is like, my problems are so small compared to other people's, but like, I mean, I don't know if like, I mean, I've never experienced like getting over the hill to where I'm like, don't have to worry about money. But like, I mean, I feel like life is always hard no matter what. Like, and maybe that's just because my anxiety. Like, I feel like I'm always so stressed about everything. But like, I just feel like life will always be hard. Like, even if you have money, it's like, there's going to be things that are hard. And so I don't know if like you can ever just like beat this guy, like if you keep like going over the barriers, and like then it's gonna be like no more barriers kind of thing.
And what you just said reminds me of something that my parents' upline said back in the MLM days.
Oh. Uh-oh.
You want to hear this quote?
Yeah.
Okay. He said, "You are supposed to struggle. You're supposed to struggle. But wouldn't you rather be struggling at a higher level?" Brian's putting his head in his hand and his head in his hand. I don't know. I mean, I guess theologically, maybe that's something that, many Christians and Buddhists can agree with, that life is, or, maybe Wesley, Prince Wesley, the Dread Pirate Roberts said, "Life is pain, Your Highness."
No, that's
anybody
that's
that
so
says
true.
otherwise
is selling you something. Yeah.
So I guess you could argue, well, what does higher level mean?
Yeah.
Is it all, is it about money?
I mean, I would
Probably not
love
just
to.
about money.
I would love to not have to worry about money. I think that would be like, that would be amazing. But I just know that like, even because I just always experience this. Like, if I have a problem that I'm so anxious about, it's like if I solve that problem, I will just be anxious about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Like, it'll never go away. Maybe that's
Well,
sad.
that's a good. I think that's self-aware of you to realize that.
Yeah.
Some people live in that perpetual state of like As
like
soon as this
chasing the
thing
next
goes
one.
away, life will be easy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's like, it's like every semester that happens. I'm like, once my semester's done, I'll be happy, or like I won't be so stressed.
Well, your semester's done. Are you happy now?
I mean, I feel happy right now besides being tired, but
Tired of podcasting?
just like physically
Will you
tired.
be happy next week? What are you going to think about next week? College is over.
I have no idea. I mean,
Are you going to just like relax for a few weeks?
I hope so. That's like something I've realized is that I have such a hard time relaxing. Like, it's so hard for me to relax
Yeah.
because I'm just always in fight or flight mode. And then when the weekend comes, I'm like, it's like so hard for me to just unwind.
Maybe we should go fishing, Megan.
Why?
Why? Oh, because you can't do anything except hang out. Well, you could
Yeah.
come to a figure drawing.
That would be
that be
fun.
relaxing?
Yeah, that would be fun. No, I do like things like that are like going on walks or being in nature, because it's just like you're just like in the present moment and try not to think about
Yeah.
the future, just be in the moment. So we are pausing the program to advertise for the J. Kirk Richards. So tell us about your stuff.
Oh, thanks, Megan. Well, I've got an art gallery in Provo, Utah. It's a community art gallery. We have new shows every month. Probably have about between 12 and, well, our biggest show we have, dozens and dozens of art, like almost 100 artists participate. So lots of cool shows. Each month it's a new theme. That is called JKR Gallery. You can find them on Instagram at JKR Gallery. I also have an art academy where artists can come and kind of hopefully up their abilities to kind of use it as a stepping stone towards a career. A lot of the artists are interested in moving up into semi-professional or professional status. So you can also find that on Instagram at J. Kirk Richards Studio Academy. At J. Kirk Richards Studio Academy. And that's it, yeah. And then I make art. You can find me at J. Kirk Richards on Instagram. That's where I post a lot of the projects that I'm working on.
Awesome. Thank you, Kirk. And back to the program.
Well, okay, so talking about persistence, he talks about Broadway. How easy do you think it is to break into Broadway, or even like a lot of creative fields at the, in the biggest market like New York City or Los Angeles?
Yeah. Hard
Yeah.
to get into Broadway.
Yeah, it seems like today so many people that make it big are children of stars that made it big in
everybody,
entertainment
every
already.
actor and actress. It's like nearly every actor and actress. Their parents were in Hollywood.
Yeah, every once in a while somebody breaks into it though, and it's exciting to hear about their stories.
I know, it's like Millie Bobby Brown was like, right? She came from like.
I thought she came from outer space. She was an alien. Wait, was she an alien in that? No, she had I can't
Honestly,
remember.
I watched the
How
first
could she-
season
Yeah.
of Stranger Things, but I haven't watched any other seasons.
Megan,
I
your
don't
sister's
like
going
it.
to disown you.
No, she knows how I feel. I just don't like supernatural movies or super.
Not true.
How is that not true?
You love like so many horror movies.
I just didn't like. Okay, I was disappointed because I thought it had a really good story, and then when it turned supernatural, I just didn't like it anymore. I just thought it was. I don't like
What
it.
was that?
What was what?
What movie was it?
Stranger
You're talking
Things.
about Stranger
Yeah.
Things still. Have you gotten over your aversion to movies with the word star in the title? Or do you still hate movies with the word star in the title?
I like Interstellar.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
It took me how many years to convince you to watch Interstellar
Yeah,
with
but it's
me?
not because he's saying because I don't like the Star Wars movies, but I didn't want to watch Interstellar with him because it's about a father and a daughter, and it's sad. So
It is. It's very emotional, isn't it?
it's very
I
sad.
love that
Yeah.
movie.
It's a really
really
good
good.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so we watched Willow together.
Dad,
Didn't you love
we
that
gotta
one?
focus on the.
Oh yeah, persistence. Maybe we should persist with the topic at hand. All right, so he talks about Broadway and how one lady who's a writer, Fannie Hurst, submitted her writing so many times. In fact, one publisher sent her 36 rejection slips before she, quote, broke the ice and got a story across.
Wow,
Just one publisher rejected her 36 times.
that's so crazy.
I would definitely give up before that.
Yeah, seriously.
You know, I'd start my own
That's like, did I tell
press
you?
or something.
Sorry, well, there was a story. I told my family about this forever ago, but so, oh my gosh. And it's been so long since I've heard it, but there was this lady, and I'm so frustrated that I can't remember the name of her company, but she owns like a super big makeup brand. But this lady, she was starting to make her makeup brand because she has a certain skin disorder, and she wanted to make makeup specifically for people with that skin disorder. So she pitched her makeup brand to so many television networks, like tried like to promote it so hard, and it was years, and she had made no progress with it. I think it was like 10 years or something.
Wow.
And she had this one chance. There was, and like all these television networks rejected her, and she had this one chance to be on a television network. They finally said yes, but they would have to have a certain amount of like of makeup like on stock.
Okay.
And she was like, well, we would have to take out a loan to get that much. And she like talked to her husband about it, and like they were like, this was like their last chance basically, but they took out a loan and got all this stuff. And she went on this television network, and she just blew up. And it was like, and also one part of it was that she was like, she had this feeling that she should take off her makeup on camera, and her like, she had some like, someone was telling her, like, I don't know if it was the TV people, but they were like, no, don't do that, like just go with the script. But she felt like in her heart like she should take off the makeup on TV, and she ended up doing that. She took off the makeup, and like it just blew up. Like people were so like amazed, and it was just so like relatable because she had the skin disorder, and now it's just this huge company. And I'm kicking myself for not remembering, because it's like, it's such a popular makeup brand, but
Maybe you can do some research.
I'll have to
and we
do
can
some
put it in the
research, yeah.
notes.
But I just remember, I just love thinking about that story because it's so inspiring, and it's an amazing story. And that's a great example of persistence.
It makes me think of John Krasinski. What he was like, I think he was in New York or wherever doing acting. Maybe it was LA for a bunch of years, you know, doing a ton of auditions. And he was talking to his parents back wherever. I'm not sure where he's from, Midwest or something. And it was like, I think I've done it. I'm done. I'm gonna come home. And his mom, I think, said, give it one more year, see what happens. And then soon after that, he did the Office audition
Oh my
for The Office.
gosh. I've never heard that story. That's amazing.
Here's my question for you, though. Is it inevitable that a persistent person will find success? Like, are there John Krasinskis that we don't know about that are 90 years old and that have just kept auditioning all these years?
I don't want to think that there are because it makes me sad.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that he persisted an extra year, right?
Yeah. And that's awesome that his mom said that, because you would think like, oh, I mean, with like a quote unquote risky job like that, like sometimes parents aren't supportive of that. So it's awesome that his mom was
Yeah, that's
encouraging him.
really, it makes it so much more possible when there's
When you have
supportive,
support, yeah.
When you have support, yeah, you've got people that are helping you and
Yeah.
backing you up. Yeah. Well, he talks about singers. He says there's somebody named Kate Smith, and he says there are thousands of singers who excel. Thousands of singers who excel, who are better than Kate Smith, are walking up and down Broadway looking for a break without success. Countless others have come and gone. Many of them sang well enough, but they failed to make the grade because they lacked the courage to keep on keeping on, until Broadway became tired of turning them away. Here's a thought. I'm friends with a musician who wrote the music for Frog and Toad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so he's been winning all these awards and stuff for
Yeah.
it. And he's a really cool guy. I met him in Nashville. And he said to me last time we had lunch a year or two ago, he said that all of the people who are still doing music from when he was younger, all of his like colleagues and friends that were in the music that are still doing it today have made it somewhere, have a living
Yeah. That's amazing.
in the industry. So it's hard to say whether that's cause or effect.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they're still doing it because they were able to get some success along the way. But I
Yeah.
think it also does say something about persistence.
Yeah, definitely.
If you do it for 20 years, you will make progress.
Yeah.
Right?
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really amazing.
I appreciated hearing that from him.
Yeah.
Okay, there are symptoms of lack of persistence. It's a list. If you like lists, look it up. I don't know if we're going to go through these individually. I think we'll just skip this. Okay, here's where he talks about kind of some older people who had their breaks, later on in life, or just started doing their thing later on in life. I always love seeing lists of, Harrison Ford started acting when he was
I love
40 or whatever.
I love seeing lists like this. It makes me feel so good about myself.
Yeah. Okay, so do you know Grandma Moses?
This
you ever
sounds
heard of Grandma
familiar,
Moses?
but I don't know.
She's an artist.
Okay.
Guess when she started painting?
When?
She was 78.
Oh my gosh. Really?
78 years old when she started painting.
Wow.
Lived to 101. I don't know
my
how many of those
gosh.
years she painted, but imagine
That's
that's
extraordinary.
23 years beyond 78
Yeah. That's
that she
amazing.
lived, and I don't know how many of those she painted, but she's become quite famous. Her artwork is prized, it's highly coveted.
Yeah.
So, okay, what about this? The only the only break anyone can afford to rely upon is a self-made break. These come through the application of persistence. The starting point is definiteness of purpose.
Yeah. That's interesting. I feel like I could agree with that. Like I feel like if I'm interpreting this how he intended it to be, but like you can't just expect to like be cut a big break. Like, and you have to put in work and work and work and work and then hopefully like yeah, like you'll get like quote unquote the big break or something. Like I mean, I just feel like I agree with him that you have to put in lots of work and you have to keep persisting, keep pushing, and you can't just expect like
that makes
something.
you ready when an opportunity
Yeah,
arises.
exactly. Because then
right?
when an opportunity arrives, you'll be ready and you'll have that like experience. It's like the thing we talked about how like sometimes people on TikTok will blow up, but they don't have like well, like their product will be selling, but they don't have enough product in stock, or they don't have people to help them package, and so they go viral, but then it doesn't take them anywhere because they weren't prepared. Like they don't have the systems in place to be ready for that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Not that like if that happens you can't still succeed, but like yeah, I mean it's just like if you're putting in work, doing all the things, and then when a break comes you can grab onto that opportunity, and hopefully that will lead to great success for you.
Okay. I was just thinking, there is a paragraph here that talks about how most people that you meet really don't have a specific idea of what they want in life or a plan to get there. And, we've talked about this. Maybe that's okay, and
Yeah,
etc. But
I think it's absolutely okay.
I would say that as I'm teaching art, I see that a certain percentage of people come to class regularly. A certain percentage of people do the homework. A certain percentage of people put themselves out there and do art shows. And when you look at each percentage that's kind of shaved away of people that won't do what it takes,
Yeah.
it's no mystery that there are few artists to me.
Yeah, because not everyone's willing to put in the work
Yeah.
and do the things. Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought that was worth mentioning. He talks about, I don't know why, but in this chapter on persistence, he starts talking about King Edward and how he gave up the throne to marry his love, Mrs. Wallace Simpson. He talks about Mohammed. But anyway, that's persistence. Anything else you want to say about persistence before we quickly cover chapter 10, Power of the Mastermind?
I don't think so. I think I've said everything.
Okay, let's keep going. Power is essential for success and accumulation of money, he says, and he defines power as organized knowledge. There's a bunch of mastermind stuff that I think we've really talked about.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's that much to... this made me laugh a little bit because he talks about Gandhi as being the most powerful man now living. His power is passive but real. Let's study the method by which he attained his stupendous power. And then he's like, it's easy to explain. It's a miracle. I'll just read. It may be explained in a few words. He came by power through inducing over 200 million people to coordinate with mind and body in a spirit of harmony for a definite purpose. It's like, it's easy to explain it. He got 100 million people on board.
It's like the same. I mean, it feels like to me when people are like, you just need to get like a lot of money and then buy a bunch of product, and you're like, well, how do I get a lot of money?
You know what? I would like to review a game sometime. We should play the Rat Race, or what's that called?
What's it called?
Rich
I know
Dad
exactly.
Poor Dad game.
Is it called the Rat Race? It's something like that. Like,
I can't remember what it's called.
do you remember what it's called, Brian?
The goal of the game is to escape the rat race. It's not called rat race.
It's called like, oh no.
Is it called Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No, it's not called that either. It's called like...
Here's the thing about that game. Maybe I'm leading with the spoiler, but the fastest way to earn money in that game is to buy the right stocks and then be lucky and have the stocks go like way up in value.
Yeah.
And I would like to play it with like a stockbroker or a financial planner and have them review it.
Yeah, see what
I
they
wanna
think about it, yeah.
know, am I missing something? Anyway.
No, that's killing me. I know it's like on the tip of my brain, the name of it, but no, I can't remember.
Well, I know it'll come to mind and you can call it out in the middle of whatever we're talking about. Okay, let's see. So he says, when two or more people coordinate in a spirit of harmony and work toward a definite objective, they place themselves in position through that alliance to absorb power directly from the great universal storehouse of infinite intelligence. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the Christian scripture where two or more people are gathered in my name. I am in the midst of them, or something like that. Or two or more people are gathered in my name. I'm with them. I can't remember the exact words, but I think that's an interesting idea that, like, if multiple people are in harmony in pursuit of something, that gives greater weight to their efforts.
I mean, I could honestly see that being true, just because it's like, if you have two people who have like a common goal and they're both passionate about that, or more people, it's like double the energetic, like passionate drive.
Yeah. I would say that my career has definitely been greater. Like, what I've been able to do with Amy is way more than what I would have been able to do on my own.
Yeah.
Like, there's just there's a strength and
strength in numbers.
Yeah, and having that mutual goal has been, those mutual goals and somebody really in being in each other's corner has been a big benefit.
Yeah, that's
okay,
awesome.
last thing. He talks about a great unseen stream of power. But this stream, instead of flowing in one direction, it's on one side it's flowing in one direction, and then on the other side it's flowing in the opposite direction. And so one side flows towards wealth and the other flows towards poverty. And your thinking process can serve as an oar by which you can propel yourself from one side to the other side of this stream. What do you think? What do you think about that symbol or comparison or
That's
idea?
really... Oh, man. I don't know. It's hard for me to comment on that because I don't know why. It's just hard for me to, like...
It's hard for me to wrap my brain around it.
Yeah.
I think... I don't know either. I don't know how useful that metaphor is.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, that's not how I visualize it in my brain, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's it. Anything else you want to say about persistence or the power of the mastermind?
No, I don't think so. Is there anything else you want to say?
I don't think so.
Awesome.
Thanks for meeting with me today to talk about this.
Thank you. Awesome. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And yeah, we will talk to you next time.
Next time, we're going to talk about the mystery of sex transmutation. Aren't you excited to discuss that with your dad?
I am thrilled.
On a podcast? Cool.
I'm thrilled.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to it. See you guys later.
Bye.